So it begins with Krishna saying, because your heart is pure, and remember, the heart is everywhere, so that means the intellect. The mind is pure. That's what we've been working on. I will explain clearly and in detail the secret and immediate knowledge. Remember, the 7th chapter was direct and indirect knowledge. At first, we gain a sense of, what the self is. And it's not until we realize, oh, I am the self, that it becomes direct. So that's what he's going to get at here. So, Krishna said, because your heart is pure, I will explain clearly and in detail the secret and immediate knowledge which will release you from inauspiciousness. This easily accomplished knowledge, the king of all knowledge and secrets, is not opposed to Dharma. It is the greatest purifier. Those who lack faith in self-knowledge do not realize me and remain caught in the whirlpool of samsara. Okay. So, first thing, heart is pure, intellect is pure, mind is pure. It all goes together. They're not separate things. It's not like we feel with the heart and then the intellect's thrown out the window. It's all working as a coordinated whole. And it's not even coordinated because it's fundamentally one and the same. But now that you have the capacity to understand, and you kind of have a sense of what the self is, let's make it a little bit more immediate. It's not some self out there. I mean, he's of course already been doing that, but try to make it more clear now. Okay, so I'll explain clearly and in detail the secret and immediate knowledge. Now, let's deal with this idea of it being secret first. Because I think a lot of people, think of like spiritual truths as like this, like it's hidden away in these secret libraries somewhere. There's supposedly like a library under the left shoulder of the Sphinx, that nobody has, and it contains all the wisdom of the universe and everything. And, but only the highest priests that have been initiated into the Illuminati can go there, and it's like secret knowledge, and you have to be initiated and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? That's not what is meant by this. I mean, I was sort of working under that assumption for a long time. It's really romantic and cool, right? And all this, and we still see it sort of playing out in, it's kind of, we see both aspects hinted at, like in the Da Vinci Code, because it does seem like this secret knowledge, you got to get to. But then on the other hand, like it's encoded in the paintings. It's right before our very eyes if we just know how to read it. Okay? So, at any rate, that's the idea here. It's secret because, as he said before, if you're not prepared for this, it's impossible to get it. You just can't see it. It can be right before your very eyes and you just miss it. I mean, of course, it's not an object to be before your very eyes, but you know what I mean. Eyes of wisdom. And if you don't have the purity of mind, the clarity of mind and purpose as well, and the focus and all, the qualities that are necessary for an adhikari, a qualified student, then you're not going to assimilate this knowledge. So it's not like we're keeping it hidden and secreted away somewhere, and these priests are guarding it, and oh my God, only a select few are ushered down into the inner sanctum where the real knowledge is. As we've just pointed out, it's everywhere. It's just we can't see it, so it's as if secret. The inner sanctums are cool, I'm sure, but okay? The real inner sanctum is you, the center of your being, we might say. Okay. So, and then immediate, we've talked about that. Nothing in between. It's not a body of wisdom out there somewhere. The whole import of the body of wisdom and the teachings that you get ready for and are privy, then are blessed by being privy to and all of that are just tools by means of which to understand the true nature of your being, and then that's immediate. Then those tools can go away. You don't need them anymore. You may choose, like me, to just read Scripture for the rest of your life, but you don't need it. It's not like, oh, I'm discovering something new. I didn't really realize I was, Okay, you know who you are. Okay, so this secret and immediate knowledge, he says here, will release you from inauspiciousness. What a great word, okay? Inauspiciousness might almost sound like, ooh, you're a dirty, evil sinner. It's kind of a euphemism for that, you might say. Nicer way of putting it, but that's not, it's just ignorance. It'll release you from ignorance.
What does inauspiciousness mean?
Auspicious would be like a really fortunate time or a blessed time. Yeah, if you have like an auspicious birth, you're really in a fortunate circumstance. Maybe the stars were in alignment, and if you believe in there might be energetic conditions that contribute to your astrological chart, and that probably all has a little impact to some degree. And then the context in which you're born. There's a big thing in the Gita Ramji makes fun of because a lot of people, it makes him sound like a chauvinist and stuff. But there's couple of references in the Gita where they're like, even a woman can get it. And it's I mean, just after the dog eater gets it, even a woman perhaps could get it, whatever. But the point of that is not, okay, perhaps there was a degree of, as has been the misfortune of, thousands of years, I guess, kind of a patriarchal society and a lot of chauvinism. But that wasn't, and so perhaps it was colored by some of that. But more, and probably this is a symptom of that, when they say even a woman can get it, it's not like you don't have the mind that could get it. It's just that within the context of this society, the women were out doing all the work. The men had the good deal. I'll just, the woman had to do, like part of the marriage thing was the man couldn't do all the rituals. No person can do all the rituals. There were certain things men had to do and certain things women had to do. And it was like, the man has to do the Agnihotra, light the fire. And then the woman has 50 things she has to do, It just seemed a little unfair. So the point is, and not mention, cooking and I don't know that they clean in India, but teasing. But anyway, the cooking, the cleaning, the raising of the kids, I see them milking the cows. I don't know what the hell the guys are doing, riding on motorbikes, tooling around, honking horns. The women are doing all the work, Yeah, drinking chai, smoking the beaties, reading the paper. But anyway, so the point is that when they say even women, it's a woman's birth was not a fortunate birth if you wanted to be focusing on scriptural study, because there was no time for that. Okay? So that would be the idea. So if that lightens the blow a little bit as far as what was behind that. Okay, so at any rate, auspiciousness is a very fortunate circumstance that you're born into. Okay, and with regard to the doctrine of karma and dharma that governs that we've talked about at length the last couple days, what you're producing, or have at least a modicum of influence concerning, is creating a more fortunate circumstance. And it can be both the surroundings in which you find yourself and into which you're born, but also the kind of mind and subtle body. That's a circumstance as well. So you're making yourself more and more auspicious. Okay? So this is going to release you from all inauspiciousness. This easily accomplished knowledge. Again, It's easily accomplished once you're prepared, because now he prefaced it, said, because your heart is pure, which now is still in question, because Arjuna's, he's still going to slog along for 9 more chapters, not completely understanding it. Not to mention the fact that, later in the Mahabharata, he still said, can you go over that again? Okay? But, at least apparently he's on the right track here. So the idea would be, okay, now that you can digest this, it's easily accomplished. Okay? At least you're on the bus. Yeah, right. You're on the chariot. You can, yeah, exactly. Okay, so this easily accomplished knowledge, the king of all knowledge and secrets. Now, this Upanishad that we just went over, the Mandukya, is known as the king of the Upanishads because it's got the essential wisdom. And it really covers quite comprehensively in only 13 verses every aspect of our being. Because it talks about the waking state, the dream state, the sleep state, which is the total apparent reality, and the entities that navigate within it. And then it reveals what the true nature of the self is. It's Om in a nutshell, or at least Om is the nutshell, I guess, by itself, but it's the entire teaching in just very concise form. Of course, you got to understand the symbolism and stuff like that. But that's the reason, anyways. It's called the King of the Upanishads. It's just the clearest, most concise expression of it. So here, the King of all knowledge. This is the knowledge once known renders all else as good as known. Again, it's not all the information about everything, but you know the essential nature of all of reality. So you know everything in that sense. So it's the king of knowledge and it's the king of secrets because it is the greatest, the king is the greatest. So it's the greatest of secrets until you have the mind that can understand it. Now, last little phrase, not opposed to Dharma. Now Dharma, the self is not Dharma. Right? The self is beyond Dharma and Adharma. Which again is not a license that, okay, you can do both and there's no consequence. It just means it's the substrate of both. But you better adhere to Dharma if you want to understand that. At any rate, last little bit here about Dharma. But what it does suggest is that the knowledge itself is part of the apparent reality. The knowledge itself is not the moksha and not the self. Moksha is the nature of the self, so it is the self. It's not the self to which it's pointing. It has many implications. It's not opposed to Dharma because you have to abide by Dharma in order to neutralize the mind to prepare it for the knowledge. It is the substrate of Ishvara, which is the Dharma, sets forth all the rules, as you could say the king of Dharma, the Dharma Raj of the entire cosmos. So all those implications are contained just within this statement. Okay? So it is the fundamental substrate of the apparent reality, the means by which it operates, you might say, or the illumining factor that enables it to operate, and is also transcendent to it, not dependent on it in any way. So it's not opposed to Dharma. And the Dharma can exist, if we're talking about it in terms of the apparent reality, and we don't need to eliminate it in order to see awareness, to understand its true nature and our own true nature.